Hello and welcome. I'm Al Barrows, and this is UFO Disclosure, the podcast that's meant to show an average person's reaction to all the UAP, UFO news from everywhere and anywhere. Today I'll be talking about new whistleblower protections. Japan is set to study UAPs. Pilots are also filming UAPs and witnessing them all over the place. And I'll be also discussing Nigel Watson's new book, Death by UFO. Should be a great podcast. Stay tuned. So there are some new whistleblower protections. I found this on Reddit and r/UFOs, Tommy Shelby, PFB, new whistleblower protections in the FY 2025 IAA, no more disclosures of identities as an act of reprisal. That's great. No more psychological exams, no more revoking of security clearances. That's awesome. And it now allows whistleblowers to directly report to Congress instead of through another agency. Right, because agencies like Arrow are just disinformation organizations. So all that is great, and it's very encouraging to possible or potential whistleblowers that are out there. Hope you guys are listening. Also noteworthy is Japan is starting to get into the disclosure movement. And I got this post from Mike Colangelo on X. Japan lawmakers to create group for government probes into UFOs. Japanese lawmakers met on Tuesday to create a nonpartisan group that will ask the government to establish an organization to investigate unidentified aerial phenomenon, or UAP. The lawmaker group will be chaired by Yasukazu Hamada, parliamentary affairs leader of the ruling Liberal Democratic Party. Former Environment Minister Shinjiro Koizumi, also from the LDP, will serve as Secretary General. In its founding statement, the group said that if UAP, which had been witnessed many times over Japanese territory, are cutting-edge secret weapons or unmanned spy drones from other countries, they would present a major security threat to Japan. Okay, so the disclosure movement seems to be having an effect even in Japan. I'd like to also talk about how often pilots are seeing UAP all over the place, and they're seen all over the world. I came across this post on Reddit, and it shows how often pilots are seeing UAPs and filming them from the cockpit. And I got this from r/UFOB, Cavitas 777 MOD. So I'm just going to go through this very quickly. You can see the gauges there. Okay, this is a cockpit video, 37,000 feet going from Japan to Canada.
Triangle. Buddy there saw him last January. Same place, saw these things.
And you can hear the pilots discussing how often they see these UAPs.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Look at them moving now.
I'm getting them on video nicely too.
Nice, you're getting them really good there. They're way up there.
Baffled plane passenger films shape-shifting UFO. This is a good one, folks. Check this one out. Baffled plane passenger. This is the passenger on a commercial airline, and he films a shape-shifting UFO hovering at 30,000 feet in the air. Now, this really caught my attention. It almost looks like a human form. Okay, it looks flat now, but once it straightens out, you can see that there's a humanoid figure shape within here. Okay, you see the head towards the top. To me, it looks a lot like a humanoid form. Almost looks like wings now of an angel. Okay, this UAP followed the flight for 10 minutes. Wow.
Local time. Thank you.
So, compilation of videos taken from a same UAP recorded by a Mexican pilot approximately at 20,000 feet.
¿Qué verga es eso, güey? ¿Qué chingados es eso, güey? No, mames, ¿qué es eso? Ah, no mames.
Okay, a passenger from a commercial aircraft captured another aircraft with an unidentified flying object beside the aircraft. This is pretty cool. So he's filming this from his passenger seat. He sees another plane going by with a UAP flying next to it. Okay, see the UAP right there? I wonder if anybody on that commercial flight is aware of it. Seems to be another one here. Oh, there's three. Pilot said he was flying over the Pacific Ocean at the time. There's a squadron. Wow. There's about 12 of them
I don't
there.
know what that is.
And they blink in and blink out.
That is some weird shit.
And you can hear the pilots talking.
Bologna 2735, contact Ho-Chi-Minh 120.7, good day. Ho-Chi-Minh 120.7, good day, Bologna 2735.
Airplane passengers captured images of a UFO during the flight. Okay, this is obviously through a passenger window. You can see the reflection there. But I don't think those orbs are part of the reflection. Yeah, that one is moving independently and the others are following it. Okay, now I'd like to talk about Nigel Watson, a UAP researcher who wrote a book called Death by UFO. And I'd like to focus in on one of his cases where a pilot went missing. Pilot went totally missing. Okay, so this is a post by Mike Colangelo again. Thank you so much for the great content, Mike Colangelo on X. Have people really been killed by aliens? And that's a question that a lot of people have. Are they malevolent or are they benevolent? An expert weighs in on fatalities linked to UFOs. Nigel Watson, a UFO researcher from Sheffield Hallam University in the UK, has written about the cases in a new book, Death by UFO, which investigates these mysterious deaths. One of the cases explored in the book is the death of U.S. Air Force Captain Thomas Mantell, who was asked to investigate a silvery conical flying object in 1948. Reports have claimed that Mantell, who was a 25-year-old Second World War hero, and 3 other pilots were conducting training exercises when the request came in to investigate a high-flying silvery object tipped with red. It appeared to be a metallic object or possibly the reflection of the sun from a metallic object, and it is of tremendous size, Mantell reported as he flew in the skies above Fort Knox in Kentucky. The 3 planes soared to 22,000 feet into the air to intercept the object. Captain Thomas Mantell died after he followed a mysterious metallic object in his jet. At 2:45 p.m., Mantell radioed the tower that he had spotted the object. Quote, "The object is directly ahead of me and above me now, moving at about half my speed," he said, end quote. He provided another update 30 minutes later. Quote, "It appears to be a metallic object or possible reflections of sun from a metallic object, and it is of tremendous size. I'm climbing. The object is above and ahead of me, moving at my speed or faster. I'm trying to close in for a better look," end quote. Shortly after, the 2 other planes aborted the mission due to a lack of oxygen supplies. Mantell, however, continued soaring higher and higher, reaching about 25,000 feet. But at 5 p.m., debris from his plane was discovered in Shelby County, southeast of Louisville. The U.S. Air Force first claimed he was chasing the planet Venus, but then said the object was a secret CIA-sponsored skyhook balloon launched in southern Ohio. UFO believers still maintain that Mantell met his demise at the hands of a murderous UFO, Watson said. with the skyhook explanation not being revealed until the late 1960s. Okay, and this is an article from the dailymail.com, and it's by Rob Watt. Watson has spent years researching UFO reports worldwide and published several books and reports about his findings. One of the cases, and this is the one that I'm focusing on, folks, is Thomas Mantell, who was asked to investigate that silvery conical flying object in 1948. So did Mantell reach his quote-unquote demise at the hands of a murderous UFO, or was he just a victim of hypoxia, lack of oxygen? The last person to talk to Mantell was Sergeant Blackwell.
How did he describe the object?
He said it was about 200 feet across, probably 70, 75 feet thick. It has observation windows in the top section around. He moved around it again, and he said it's metallic, dull aluminum color. And he said, well, now he's trying to move away. I'm going to close in for a better look. And that's the last thing he ever said.
The Air Force speculated that Mantell was suffering hallucinations caused by anoxia, the medical term for lack of oxygen. Was Captain Mantell coherent when he was talking to you?
In my opinion, he had control right on through. I have worked people with anoxia, and in my opinion, he wasn't suffering. He was in full command of his facility.
Perhaps the most important information Blackwell revealed were the names and ranks of other eyewitnesses in the tower.
Oh, mercy. There was about 3 generals, colonels carrying coffee, the base commander, Colonel Hicks, and the operations officer. It was jammed. When they said he was down, everybody abruptly left because the red tape gets awful. They didn't want to write all the reports. Didn't want to say they'd seen a saucer. Didn't want to say they hadn't seen a saucer.
He was definitely chasing something that he felt was the national. Well, I think it more or less makes him a hero.
Quentin Blackwell's revelations were a double-edged sword for the family who had traveled so far to meet him. He confirmed their worst fears, that the Air Force knew that Tommy was after more than a balloon and still chose to remain silent. But Blackwell also spoke out about Mantell's heroism, something his family had always known in their hearts.
So Blackwell was the last person that spoke to Mantell, and he was sure that he wasn't suffering from anoxia or lack of oxygen. Okay, so now I'd like to show a clip of Mantell's hometown in Kentucky and his remaining family members, how they still haven't gotten closure. First of all, to Thomas Mantell, thank you for your brave service. And to his grandsons, I hope you finally find closure of some sort. And to my listeners, not sure whether Mantell died of anoxia or lack of oxygen, or whether he might have died at the hands of a malevolent NHI, as the author of Death by UFO, Nigel Watson, would say in his book. So moving on to the international scene, people are seeing luminous rods in the sky, which they believe are UAPs. I found an article on the Daily Star by Lisa Letcher entitled "Numerous UFO Sightings of Luminous Train Rods at Night Are Baffling Experts." One explanation could be that the odd-looking beams of light are Starlink satellites, but there were no launches during the first sighting in South America. And this is a picture of what they look like. Strange UFO rods, as they're calling them. A series of unusual-looking lightning rods captured in the skies above South America have left UFO experts completely stumped. The strange shots of light that some have likened to UFO sightings have been compared to luminous rods over countries like Argentina, Brazil, and Chile, as they are spotted within days of each other by various onlookers. But experts are baffled as to whether the objects are indeed UFOs, or if there is a simpler explanation, like the frequent sightings of Starlink launches, a satellite constellation that uses the Earth's orbit to deliver a broadband internet. It comes as some of the sightings have been compared by witnesses to a string of lights in the sky or shooting stars. Similar sightings across the UK and beyond have been, in the past, been confirmed as launches of Starlink. Okay. The satellites can appear as a string of pearls or a train of bright lights moving across the sky. Similar sighting on TikTok right here. One stunning example of the unexplained South American phenomenon was filmed last month on April the 29th by UFO researcher Roy Vernet, captured striking scenes above Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. Okay, so here are the rods that people have been seeing over South America. This is Argentina. So is that a result of a Starlink satellite? Or is it a UAP? This is Chile. And here's one in Brazil. So Burnett is saying that the only explanation for him would be Starlink, but there was no satellite train visible at the time of the sighting. So Burnett is a prominent researcher in Brazil and the founder of UAPBrazil.com. Okay, so I admit it could be Starlink that people in South America are seeing there. I'd like to finish off by showing a clip of the NHI that was captured on video last year during the encounter in Las Vegas where the family had NHI in their backyard. And I've done a podcast on that before, but I'm going to show this specifically because it's such a clear view of the NHI cloaking in and out of the shot. Okay, so you can see two beings cloaking in and cloaking out. I guess this would be the second being. I only see the one on this side. You can see it going in and out there. And this post is from r/aliens view -try-2056. And it says that at least two beings using some sort of cloaking device landed in Las Vegas backyard, said a veteran crime scene reconstruction analyst, Scott Roeder, who has testified as an expert in some of the most highly publicized crime cases in the world, analyzed frame by frame a video of a reported alien sighting in Las Vegas. In 1 second of real time, there are 30 frames that show a head with smoke around it, which Roeder called some sort of cloaking device, moving into the top corner of the video and peering over the fence. And you can see it there. And this has been analyzed over and over again. Hasn't been debunked. Okay, that's it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed all of that. My name is Al Barrows. This has been UFO Disclosure. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Let's try and manifest a positive shield of protection for all the kids in the Ukraine and Gaza. Thank you. Thank you for listening to my podcast.